All right, made it to Dix Creek Gap. It's October 2019. That's where I left off. You might see that big rock back in there. So last year, or in May, came and hitched a ride right here. And so now I'm gonna continue the next section up this way, northbound Appalachian Trail. All right, a little info on travel. This time I chose to drive all the way to NOC, and that will be my planned stopping point. So I drove all the way there from Florida, and I got a shuttle. I used Brett out of Suchess, and that was very nice. Yeah, good guys. It's really nice to talk hiking stuff with him during the shuttle. He's a thru hiker. So yeah, the drive wasn't too bad, you know, even though it was pretty much all day yesterday. Stayed at the NOC, had a nice dinner too at their restaurant, and got dropped off here at Dix Creek Gap. And my plan is to walk, of course, to NOC where my car is. And that's actually kind of nice because when you're walking to your car, you know you've got clean clothes stashed, and I've got a soda and some other food kind of sitting there ready. There are showers there too, so it's a good place to kind of end. I don't have to hitchhike out or anything like that, so I think it was a pretty good decision to just kind of drive my own car this time. But as I continue doing these sections, that would mean that I'm going further and further north and harder for me to drive from Florida. So I might pretty soon here have to start flying and then doing some sort of shuttle or renting a car. So okay, so major themes for this section hike. I expect it to be just a little chillier. I'm seeing lows around 50. That's not bad, but it is a little chillier than it was in May. I do expect rain tonight and tomorrow, most of the day tomorrow. I do actually want to experience some rain because May there was maybe a 5-minute sprinkle, and that didn't count. Yeah, I want to experience a little bit of rain and see how I do with that. This is a little more remote of a section, I believe. So I cross the Georgia, North Carolina line. That'll be cool. I get to the 100-mile mark. That'll be cool. I see Siler Bald. There's going to be a nice stone fire tower there. That looks awesome. I don't expect too much in terms of views today, except for viewing that North Carolina sign, that border sign. That would be sweet. Yeah, actually, another theme of this section for me is I'm carrying 6 days of food. So no resupply this time. I could have in Franklin, but I'm choosing to do about 6 days carry all the way to NOC. So speaking of weight, I think my pack is about 31 pounds. Everything with water and food and everything. So still not too bad, you know, for me. So, but still makes for a heavy pack climbing out of a gap like this. I'm looking forward to eating some of that food and going a little faster later in the trip. All right, I'm gonna document one of my recipes. This is something new I'm doing. So I've got these dried vegetables. Last time I did this cold soaked couscous, I just thought it was missing a little something. So I'm gonna do these vegetables. I found them online. I think a lot of like doomsday preppers use this, but it keeps for a long time. So you just rehydrate it. It's meant to be cooked, but it can be just cold soaked. I tried this at home. So I'm gonna put the couscous in here, and then after it rehydrates, I'll add like a Chicken Creations packet, one of those things. So I'll add that. So it'll be a nice, good lunch for me. Well, things went a little south for me on the hike. Got to Plum Orchard Gap. I think that's 4.5 miles in. And I was low on water, and they have a good water source there. So I filled up my dirty water bag and started filtering. And water was not coming out of my filter. So I worked at it, tried back flushing and then squeezing some more, through the filter, and I got it to about 3 drops per second maybe, and that was working at it about an hour worth. And so I realized I was in bad shape in terms of water. So I decided to backtrack back to Dick's Creek Gap. Now, fortunately, a thru hiker, a flip-flop thru hiker, didn't even get his name yet, and a friend of his, I think Steve, they gave me a tip. They said it's probably just mineral deposits, from whatever water you flushed it with, back at the house or whatever. And they're probably right, because we have hard water still in our new house. So a little vinegar should help flush that out. So we're going to try that. Dollar General, and they were nice enough to offer a ride into Hiawassee. So very fortunate to come across those guys. So that's the update there. I guess I'm still considering whether I stay in Hiawassee tonight or, try to get a ride back. And actually they said if I want to ride back to the trailhead, I could. So I might take them up on that and just, get a few miles in before it gets dark and then take it from there. So that's the news. Well, yesterday was eventful. It was my first day. So I think I might have mentioned earlier, I hiked 4.5 miles into Plum Orchard Gap from Dick's Creek Gap, and figured out my water filter was not working. It was just dripping, maybe 2 drips a second, and that had to do with sediment from city water. So back at home. So a thru hiker gave me a tip that I met. He said, yeah, vinegar should do it, and that did make sense to me. So he actually had a family member offer to take me on a ride into Hiawassee. So I went to Dollar General, picked up vinegar, and it pretty much immediately worked. So I just made sure it was nice and flushed and cleaned out, and back up and running. And they quickly got me back onto the trail. So I spent last night hiking back to Plum Orchard. So that puts me about 7 miles behind schedule from what I was planning. But I'll plan to do that a little later in the week when I have a lighter pack, is make up those miles. But it as well, so we had rain starting at 4 o'clock yesterday. So I got to hike in the rain for the first time. Wasn't too bad. I mean, it's definitely not delightful, but it wasn't too bad. And so here I am on day 2, and soggy clothes. So I put the same ones on because we're slated to get a little more rain today, but we'll see. Hopefully not. I'd like to start drying out at this point. Yep. So it's about it's going on noon. And I'm approaching the state line, I believe, sometime soon. But just kind of recap so far. So it was overcast all morning until 11, to when it actually started raining a little, and it's still raining a little. And it's just a little, not a constant. So I'm already wet from yesterday. I think I might see something up here. Something familiar from other people's videos and pictures. Here we are. There we are. Yes. It's nice to hit a milestone like this. The forecast did say it's supposed to rain a little more this afternoon though, so I hope to get to the shelter early enough if it is going to rain. So I'm actually projecting 4:30, so I don't know. House Bald, I just finished that. I don't know, about a half a mile ago. That was a challenge. That was a good one. Once you get up to House Bald, there's no view. So it's funny. But yeah, a lot of climbing today. But yeah, it's pretty good. I met a guy named Gary. We're hiking about the same speed, and we're heading to Standing Indian Shelter. So it should be a good time. And I'm hiking on. Coming out of Standing Indian Shelter, pretty good night's sleep, except it rained all night, and so you're seeing the after effects of a lot of moisture in the air still. It had probably just finished raining an hour ago as we were getting up. It's about 9 a.m. right now. So a little tired of being wet. So I put the wet stuff back on, and I have some dry socks available, and just hoping to get some of this burned off. It's not supposed to rain anymore the rest of the trip, so once I go dry, it should be nice. So met this nice couple at the shelter, Standing Indian Shelter. They're going southbound, so I won't see them again, but we have some mutual friends. In fact, we have a lot of mutual friends. We both went to the same small college, and that was pretty crazy because it's a small college and everything. We didn't go the same years, but we know a lot of people in common, so that was a real treat. So seeing that couple really kind of made the trips for me so far, just to kind of reminisce about the people that we both know and all that. And what's also neat is I see the sun peeking through. I see nice blue skies. Not sure how that looks to you, but those are clear blue skies. So just kind of symbolic of how you can be kind of going through some struggle here and some challenges, and how you got some hope coming up just in time for the best views. Got Standing Indian Mountain, Albert Mountain Fire Tower early tomorrow morning, Waya Bald, probably a mile after Standing Indian Mountain. There's a little clearing, and we had full sun at that point. So I took all my stuff out of my backpack, especially the sleeping bag, and I laid it up on these bushes that were there, and that did the trick. It only took about 5 or 10 minutes to dry that stuff out. So a few things I learned about rain, because I didn't have that in the first section I did back in May 2019, is you definitely want to have some dry sleep clothes and sleeping bag at all costs. Do as much as you can to keep a set of things dry, just so you can sleep in comfort. Yeah, if your stuff is wet, if there's any kind of sun, like full sun, go ahead and take that opportunity to dry out your stuff. It'll only take typically like 10 minutes. So just seize that opportunity. So just looking at the elevation profile in my guidebook, I see that I'm going to have some pretty cruisy terrain today. So actually, coming off a Standing Indian mountain, it's 5 miles gradual, and I finished that. That was super nice. And then actually since then it's been also pretty nice, just gradual ups and downs. So I'm leaving. So I think I was planning on going to Betty Creek campsite, and that would be a 11-mile day, but instead I'm leaving open the opportunity, if I feel good by that time, to crank out another 5 miles to a shelter. Forgot the name of it. I think it's Long Branch Shelter. So that would put me back on track, because you may remember I fell behind the first day because of the water filter issue. So like almost all of this so far has not been fun. I mean, it is nice to get into the woods, go on a journey. There's definitely things I could point out that are good, but the conditions to this point have been challenging. And so yeah, just to kind of bring it back to the symbolism of, to get through some challenges, sometimes you just trust the process. It's going to be, and you're probably saying, well, what kind of process is there with hiking? You're just walking. Well, there's a lot of things to consider. It's walking, it's making sure your body's okay, it's making sure your gear's okay, you're not forgetting things. Everything has its place. Don't panic. All these things that can get you into deeper trouble when you're out in the woods and you have miles away from any kind of access point. So that confirmation is kind of good. I'm seeing the results of that a little bit today. Today looks to be a turning point from being challenging to being, still some challenges, but yet really awesome stuff. So looking forward to it. Looks like I'm at a shelter area, so I'm gonna stop and have lunch and refill my water. I'm heading up Albert Mountain, and I've got this good view. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so you're gonna hear me huffing and puffing. I'm climbing Albert Mountain, the final climb to the watchtower, and white blaze through there. This is a bit of a scramble. So just wanted to give you guys a taste for what this is. Oh man, this is not real. Not real. What's even more amazing is this view. After 2+ days of being in the clouds, wow. about a 6:15 at Long Branch Shelter, and this is a pretty nice setup. You got a nice sunset going on, and it's a newer shelter too. It's like a 2013 or something like that. Very nice setup. I'm gonna get some water and get cooking. Good morning, day 4 of this section hike. I just came out of Long Branch Shelter, and finally no rain, yay! So today it looks like I'll say goodbye to a nice guy I met named Gary, also from Florida, and we met at the Georgia-North Carolina border sign, and we've just been hiking around each other and staying at the 2 shelters since. So put in some pretty big days, but yeah, I'll probably be saying goodbye to him today. He's getting out at Winding Stair. Also, yesterday was my biggest day so far on these section hikes. In terms of mileage, I did 16.4, so a little pat on the back. I feel fine. I just don't plan on big mileage, but yesterday was my catch-up day from my day 1, which was the water filter incident. So yeah, so I'm glad I'm caught up. Now I just have 11 and 12 mile days for the next 3 days. So awesome. Approaching Winding Stair Gap.